Hey, today I want to tackle the question whether you can use productboard to manage hardware products. It's a question I get quite often over the past 3 to 4 years while I've been using productboard to manage both hardware and software products. But first, if you're new to my channel, I'm Michael. I've been leading product teams for over the past 10 years in both hardware, software, and services contexts. And I'm going to share through this channel my experiences, some best practices, and principles that you can use with your product team to build great products. So hit the like and subscribe button at the bottom if you want to continue to follow. So back to the question now. Can you use product board to manage hardware products? Simple answer is yes, but it all starts with a question, what type of product are you managing here? If we're talking about a hardware product that just has a few features that you do not prioritize separately but are just part of the hardware, let's assume a simple refrigerator which just needs to show a clock, then you just put in all the hardware elements into product board, and that one software portion is going to be part of that, one of the features. Now, that's not the case that I will want to highlight. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here how you manage hardware together with software into product board. And for that, I'm talking about Toasty. Toasty, a company, a virtual company of course, that is building robotic lawnmowers. And many of those robotic lawnmowers that you might see mowing the lawn somewhere consist of a hardware portion, the robot itself, software elements, which are typically then the mobile app to control that robot, and maybe cloud to manage those systems. Now, let's dive immediately into product board and keep it short. Board space. I'm being greeted, and at the left side I have the four modules which you're used to seeing. The Insights module, the feature hierarchy, the roadmap, and the portal. Now, in the Insights, it's the same like you're used to. You gather all the market, customer feedback, sales feedback, market feedback, all together here, and you can highlight and select which things are important and then link them to a feature. For instance, here, Kim Rodriguez said, I want the mower to have a good terrain handling. Well, I said, okay, then we need an all-terrain off-road tires on our robotic lawnmowers. So I created this feature and I've made it ready to be prioritized and put in my product. Now the question is, of course, what do I do with this in the product hierarchy? And if I look into my product hierarchy, you will see that I've split the things up. And again, here one of the key elements is that I assumed that we are going to prioritize features from software and hardware against each other and next to each other separately as well. One of the questions that you need to ask is where the decoupling point is then between your software and your hardware, and how flexible you can be in both. If both can run in the same sprint, then you're in the ideal case, and you're going to have a lot of inspected app cycles so that you can have a great product delivered towards your customers and really build things that have impact. Now, in many cases, that is not the case, and your hardware runs in a separate process or in a different cycle than your software is. No matter of that, you can try to introduce some agility and at least the inspect and adapt cycles into that. And that's also what we're trying to do here. You'll basically see that the software is being split off into different products, let's say, or entities into a product board with all the features below them so that we can prioritize and have a hierarchy of those features separately. And that we have the hardware as a separate set and separate features with even sub-features which are on the elements in the different versions of our robotic lawnmowers. Now, the release groups for this are also completely split off. We have a hardware release group and a software release group. The software is in sprints, the hardware is in a different process which has a prototyping stage, a validation stage, and then a release stage. All of these things are being done separately. Now, in between those stages, you can do inspect and adapt cycles. And that is the important part, of course. Getting that feedback from the customers in, putting it back into product board, and try to still adapt your product. Two, of course, need to be linked at some point, because you might be able to update your software, but you might also depend on a piece of hardware to have some capabilities done. Now, look at this improved obstacle detection, which we introduce in our Toasty OS, so the firmware that runs on our product, but that we keep on updating every time. And we want to introduce this in the fourth sprint of 2023. Now it has a dependency, and if you look on that dependency, it's apparently blocked by the 4K camera with night vision. That camera is only being introduced with our Toasty Pro, which is in the hardware portion of our product board. These two have the only thing that they need to match is basically that dependency. Apart from that, we could put that feature behind a feature flag or only enable it when the OS is being put on the right hardware. All things are possible like that. We could even split off these two sections of the hierarchy for different teams so that my hardware team sees only the Toasty lawnmower, my software team sees only the Toasty OS. But I like to keep transparency and make sure that both teams see each other's views and see each other's details if they want to, otherwise they can build separate views. Now here's how you split it off and how you link the dependencies between the features and the hierarchy. And the hardware, sorry. Of course, we also need to talk about the portal because you can add that hardware also to the portal. For instance, here I have my Toasty Pro, which is the professional product for the professional market, where I could have some separate features and I want to validate that with customers, get that feedback in and adapt my product before I get the final release of that hardware out. This actually works. Proof is, I've done this multiple times before. We already gave customers beta hardware, also beta software, gave them a link to the portal where they could find a description of both the hardware as well as all the software features on the product and ask for their feedback. This is one of the ways how you can do inspect and adapt, quickly get feedback cycles done on your product and improve your product even before the final release of that hardware gets out. And then you can see how far you can reach it. Here you go, this was a quick wrap up of what product board could mean if you have a hardware product in combination with software, of course. Things you need to ask yourself is, first of all, how much can I prioritize my software features versus hardware, or are they completely bound to one another? So meaning your hardware is the portion that defines everything, or am I in the capability to split off my software, run it at a decoupling point so that I can have multiple software iterations and continue to improve the product afterwards? Then you can split it off really in product board and have a separate piece of the hierarchy. I would say think about it, try it, and if you have any comments or questions, put them below here and I'll try to answer them. Thanks for listening. Bye.